Fantasy?
Film.
Fight! What'd you fucking say?
Fantasy.
Film fight!
I still don't get it.
Fantasy. Film fight!
We take the pick of the litter.
We take it in turns.
Someone's just gotta go first.
And then?
The next person.
They just go round and round.
That's what.
We call it
Fantasy.
fight. You win some, you lose some.
Anything can happen.
So?
Who are you going with?
Who you picking? Today.
Fantasy.
Film.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 80 of Fantasy Film Fights, the show where we take a random film topic and we draft it fantasy style. With me, as always, my co-host, Mr. Tony Hill. Tony, how are you today?
I am marvelous. It's one of the best days of the year where summer finally fucks off.
See,
And we start autumn.
Always makes me a little bit sad when the nice weather goes away.
Oh, I'm the opposite. I fucking hate the sun. The sun is a big ball of fire. We should not like it. It burns your skin.
No wonder you're so pale all the time.
That's and also because I'm Irish. But, like autumn's just perfect. It's just the perfect weather. It's not too hot, not too cold. Hoodie weather.
I can get down with that. But all right, today on the show we are drafting black and white movies. I have no idea what our panel has in store because there are a shit ton of black and white movies out there to choose from. But we have a fantastic panel joining us, and we will see what they come up with. Let me give you the introductions. First, returning over here to the side of me, Mr. Kirk Kalidowski. Kirk, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Happy to have you back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been. I'm excited about this one. This could be hard to screw up, so I'm just going to try to not screw it up the most. But I mean, even as we're sitting here, I'm still right now I'm thinking of more movies that I didn't have on my list before. So it's one of those ones where I hope everybody else takes some of my picks just to make it easier to narrow it down for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely embarrassment of Richard for this episode.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Happy to have you back, sir. Down over here in the corner, Mr. Michael Wood joining us from across the pond once again. Mike, how you doing?
Doing good, thank you. Hope everyone else as well. And yeah, looking forward to this again. I think it's been a while. So
yeah, it's been a while since everyone on the panel here has joined us. So we are very much happy to have you back, sir.
I'm very happy to be back.
And then last but certainly not least, my girl down over here in the corner, Melissa's joining us once again. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm with Tony with the weather. I prefer fall, winter. You know, I like snow, cold. But yes, I'm excited for this topic today, and I'm excited to be back because it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while, and it's going to be a fun one. But in order to get that fun started, we got to figure out draft order. Tony, how do we go about that?
Yep. So I'm drafting this week. So Peggy's got a numerical question.
I do.
And then everyone's gonna have a shot and have a go. Whoever gets closest to the pin gets to pick the order. So who gets to go first, who gets stuck in the middle, and who takes it in the rear.
Well, there's no real middle anymore since we've cut it down to 4 panelists drafting.
Yeah.
But you like that saying, so we'll let you keep it. All right, panel, your question. Back in 1991, Michael Jackson released a song called Black or White. There were 2 versions of the video. There was an extended version and a shortened version. How long is the shortened version of the video for Black or White by Michael Jackson? Minutes and seconds is what I'm looking for. Closest to the actual runtime gets to set the draft order. So come up with something that you think would be the shortened version, according to the Vivo posted on YouTube that I looked up earlier today.
Probably Michael Jackson's best song.
The Way You Make Me Feel is his best song in my book.
I like obviously like Smooth Criminal and stuff like that are like the predominant ones, but something about Black or White is just like I always just like I'll just put it on just like yes please, thank you. For some reason I love Michael Jackson, hate Prince. I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't get that either. Makes no sense to me. Everyone got a number down?
Yes.
All right. Let me get everyone's name down. I will start with Kirk and go around the circle. Kirk, what'd you write?
I honestly didn't look at Star Drew's answer before I wrote this down. I said 5:45.
5:45. Mike. Michael, excuse me.
Just a random guess. 3 minutes 33 seconds.
3 minutes 33. Melissa.
5 minutes 5 seconds.
5:05. And then Tony, what'd you guess?
Just a random guess. 3 minutes 43 seconds.
All right. Well, that makes it easy. Don't have to do much math because the runtime of the shortened version of the video for Black or White is actually 6 minutes, 23 seconds. So, Kirk, it falls to you, sir. You can just set the draft order. The longer one is, let me look it up,
I
is
remember them both being long.
11 minutes, 2 seconds.
Yeah. The only time I've ever won this is the one time I don't want to go first.
Well, you get to set the draft order. You can make it anything you want. You can put Tony first. You can put Melissa first. However you want to do it.
I'll go last.
Okay.
And then I'll go Melissa, and then we'll have Tony go next and Andy.
And Melissa, Tony, then Michael, then
Or
Kirk.
Michael, I'm sorry.
All good.
I mean, they look
Happens
so
all the
different.
All right, easy enough. So with that, Melissa, might as well get this show on the road. You are officially on the clock. What is the first overall draft pick for movies that are in black and white?
Okay, no pressure. I am gonna go with Sunset Boulevard.
Ooh, good pick.
I think this movie is gorgeous in regards to how it looks. The story is super engaging. I think Gloria Swanson was amazing as Norman Desmond. I think it's a great depiction of mental illness for sure. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies that I've watched this year, and I'm excited to watch it again.
And you're gonna get at least so far, you're gonna get a good amount of votes because Billy Wilder seems to be a favorite amongst the fan leaguers. I'm guessing that this one ended up on everybody else's list, but let's find out. Tony, did you have this one on your list?
I did. I have other Billy Wilders that are higher just because of personal preference, but this is one of those weird films where it's just like, even though it came out in 1950, if you just redid the script and said it came out last year, it still would feel very timely.
That's fair. What about Kirk or Michael? Do you guys have this one on your lists?
Yeah, I think I'm, as with everyone else, when you see the topic black and white, Billy Wilder springs to mind. I've not seen too many Billy Wilders, but this is definitely one of my favorites. I know this is one they keep threatening to remake because I think Glenn Close is supposed to be doing a remake, and I know everyone wants Glenn Close to win an Oscar, whatever, but no, don't. Let's not. I think this film's great, yes. And Melissa's right, really one of the, don't know if better or more interesting depictions of sort of mental illness on screen that I've seen as well, for sure.
Yeah, this is in my personal top 10. I think this is the highest black and white animated I have in my top 10. But yeah, this is fantastic. This is my favorite Billy Wilder. This is one of my all-time favorite movies. So yeah, it's a great pick.
Yeah, I have to thank the fan leagues for getting me to watch this because I had not seen it until I started playing along with y'all. And so yeah,
same.
Thank you guys for making me do deep Billy Wilder dives.
Just quickly,
yeah,
in regards to that Glenn Close remake, it's not actually a remake of the film. It's a version of the musical that was done by Andrew Lloyd Webber. Because of course Andrew Lloyd Webber made a fucking musical about this movie.
So it's worse than we thought.
I don't get how that guy is allowed to keep making musicals after he did Cats. He had a good one, Phantom of the Opera.
Idea.
Just let it go.
All right, so Sunset Boulevard, first one off the board. We move over to Tony for his first pick. Take it away, bud.
All right, I think for me, so I've always had this thing about the greatest films of all time that you should never really watch them because they'll never live up to the hype. They'll never be the greatest films of all time. They'll never do all that. Because of a match, I had to sit down and watch one of these. And Citizen Kane is pretty good. It's probably one of the best films of all time. It is insane how great that film is. And just like looking at it, just like Orson Welles, just like how young, how did you do this at this age and all the doing techniques that just like no one even thought of doing. And it's just like, just from that, it's just like, oh, you're an interesting man. Okay. I see the hype now. I see why this is seen as one of the greatest films of all time.
Oh, that's it. This is one that comes up a lot. Curious, guys. Did you guys have this one?
I had it, but I kind of thought someone else could take
Yeah.
it for this match. But I was really surprised how emotional I was watching this movie. I like cried my eyes out, and I was not expecting that at all. So it's a great movie.
I had it on my list, but I was tempted to see if, because I always had similar mindset to Melissa. I was curious to see if we would all have that mindset, and then end up no one picking Citizen Kane. It's been really funny. It's an amazing film. There's not much more to add, really. Its reputation exceeds itself.
Yeah, I definitely felt that it could have might have dropped just because of how hyped it is. Some people just kind of overlook it because it's considered so great. But yeah, Tony's right. It took me a couple of viewings to really get into it because it does suffer from that gigantic hype that's really hard to live up to. But the more you watch it, just the more you see, and what he's doing, just from a technical aspect, from a story telling aspect, the way the whole thing's structured, it's great. Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's definitely worthy to be number one pick.
Yeah. Definitely a solid pick, and everything that's been said about it, has been said, or could be said about it, has been said about it by someone. So might as well just press on over to Michael. Michael, what you got for your first overall?
I'm going to pick I think the only time I've ever cared at all about anything to do with boxing, which is Scorsese's classic Raging Bull.
Nice.
I've obviously seen most of Scorsese's work. I do think, even though I'm not interested in boxing, not really interested in sports films, not really interested in biopics, but just I think he really digs under the surface in a very, very bold way in this film. The use of black and white, I know, is kind of accidental. It was only because there was too much blood or whatever, but actually it's so striking how it's used in the film. De Niro, obviously fantastic. Pesci, I honestly think Pesci in Scorsese films is better than De Niro and DiCaprio in Scorsese films. He is just brilliant every time. He's a lot more reserved in this film at times, but just an incredible actor. And yeah, just all the good Scorsese hallmarks. It looks great. It tackles a difficult person without sort of being too sympathetic towards them. It's just all the great Scorsese hallmarks and one of his best films, I think.
All right, nice selection. Here's the thing. It's one of the blank spots in my repertoire. I have never seen Raging Bull, so I'm going to leave it to the rest of the panel to discuss this one. I just never got around to watching this one.
I very much agree with kind of everything you said. I'm not one for sports movies, but I actually really love this movie a lot. I'm also not a big Martin Scorsese fan either, because I'm not really into gangster movies, because it seems to be his genre. But this is probably my favorite Scorsese movie. Maybe Shutter Island is tied with that. But it's a very beautifully shot, filmed, and I guess I care about boxing now.
He's an interesting film, that Scorsese. He's done a few films. He's got a future ahead of him. He might, if he gets like an MCU film, he'll really establish himself to that director.
Yeah, one of these days I'll make a name for himself, I'm sure.
This is, I'm a big Scorsese guy. This isn't necessarily like upper echelon for me, but it is just a great looking movie. And the way it's shot, the way the black and white cinematography used, the in-ring stuff, some of the best boxing ever put to film before. And not necessarily like realistically, but it's just so engaging to watch, just the montages and everything. I think it's a really great pick for black and white because it uses the black and white cinematography really well.
I will say there might be another choice from that year that might get brought up. I think maybe the better film. We'll see.
We shall see. All right.
I think I know what that might be, just thinking of the year.
All right, moving right along. End of round one we've gotten to already. Kirk, what you got for your first overall pick?
My first overall pick, I'm going to go with one of my favorite, probably my favorite class of director, favorite director of all time. Hard to narrow down his filmography because there's so many great movies that could be picked. But I'm going to go with what's generally considered best. I'm picking Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai.
Ah, nice. Okay.
This is another one that I think just uses the it's so rich in that black and white look to it. The cinematography on the grand scope, the vistas and everything are great, but even individually, the personal, the fight scenes, everything looks so good. It's just a great movie. It's epic, over 3 hours long, but it's still it kind of breezes by when you watch it because there's so much going on and so much to engage with. It's Seven Samurai. It's a great movie.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say it's long, but you're engaged. That's a good word. Like you're engaged in the story the entire way. It doesn't feel like 3 hours. And yeah, like it's been remade how many times in different forms? Yeah, so you only steal from the best. you should. But curious, are you guys Kurosawa fans? The rest of the panel, did you guys have this one?
This is the only Kurosawa I've ever seen. I did have it on my list, but I literally was like, Kirk's gonna choose it. I know it. So I was like, I'm not gonna even try to put it on my list. But it's definitely one of those movies that has a little bit of everything. There's humor, there's some romance, drama, action, and it's beautifully shot.
Yeah, I agree.
I personally, I would say, like, if they made it like a Western, like, if it wasn't samurais, maybe they're magnificent instead, it might be a little bit, I don't know, but...
Maybe we'll try that out
if you get Denzel in there in the role, and Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke,
I was thinking Steve McQueen version, but okay.
I was going with the more modern one. That's the only Magnificent Seven I've seen, so... Couldn't rattle off the rest of the cast from the first... remake, if you will, but hey, it's a solid pick, solid way to close out round number 1. We've reached the moment where Tony recaps how it's gone down for those who joined a little bit late.
All right, so we have this round 1. So Melissa went first with Sunset Boulevard, I went second with Citizen Kane, Michael went third with Raging Bull, and Kirk went fourth with Seven Samurai.
We've got 4 solid movies off the board so
That's
far.
a heck of a round 1, isn't it?
Right? I am interested to see how round 2 goes. Kick it off, Kirk. What you got?
Okay, my strategy worked because both my 1 and 2 picks are still here. I'm going to stick with both the theme of picking a movie from one of my favorite directors and also with the numerical theme. My second pick is going to be 12 Angry Men.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, and this is just another one. I mean, this is maybe the greatest ensemble movie of all time. It's one of the greatest. I don't know if you call it like a bottle movie or just an enclosed one location movie. The cast is fantastic. Some of the best all time character actors just brought together. Sidney Lumet directs it brilliantly. This is so just right up his alley as far as not just subject matter, but just in the structure and the look of the movie. I just have it in that one room, and on paper it's going to be so boring and so dull, but it's just so great to watch all these different people, different ideas and personalities and worldviews come together. And what I love about this movie, it's not, it's not, Henry Fonda's character isn't a crusader. When it comes down to it, he's just like, hey, let's just do the right thing and talk about this and see what happens. And it all kind of just spirals from that. So yeah, it's just such a rewatchable movie. I could watch this like 3-4 times in a row because there's just so much to enjoy. Just every little performance is so good. It's a perfect movie.
Yeah, the nuances of each juror kind of turn it, like how the tide turns, the nuances of each performance. Yeah, it's great. And speaking of movies that have been remade or repurposed or reimagined in different scenarios, both film and television, this is one of them. Like Veronica Mars had an episode where it was basically the same thing. I mean, Amy Schumer had a skit where it was like all about like seeing women in movies and such. Yeah, been repurposed a bunch. But curious, Tony, did you have this one?
I did not. It's still a blind spot for me. I tried this week finding a copy. I just like wasn't able to stream it anywhere. I tried to buy a Blu-ray. I was like, I have like a Criterion collection or buy one from the US, which would be 50 quid. So I'm like, I'm good. I like money. I just have this rule in my life where I refuse to pay for a digital download or something. I just refuse, unless I have something physical off it, I refuse to spend money on it.
No, that makes sense. I feel you on that. Yeah, I'm a fan of physical media, as you can tell.
Yeah, I haven't seen this, so.
Oh wow. Well, you got it to look forward to because it's good.
I've heard many things about it, but I've not seen it.
I have seen it, but it's been a very long time, so I don't know if I can add too much other than my memory of it, which was, I think Kirk touched on it, being surprisingly engrossed by how it was all unfolding.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. All right, Kirk's got a strong squad so far. Michael, can you strengthen yours with your second round pick? What you thinking?
Yeah, I'm going to sort of move things a bit more recent, and I'm going to pick Roma by Alfonso Cuarón. I probably butchered that surname. I do apologise. A film which, as far as I can remember, won Best Picture a few years ago and definitely wasn't beaten by anything seriously inferior. And I mean, the main reason I'm picking this is because I sort of mentioned how good Raging Bull and how good all these films look in black and white. I think the actual black and white cinematography in this film is absolutely breathtaking. It's one of the best shot movies of the last few years. Obviously, that's one of Cowan's trademarks. He's one of the best at making his films look fantastic. But this film really is stunning to look at. And of course, a really interesting story, a really undertold story. Great performance from, I'm not going to attempt the name, Aparicio, the lead actress, who's now just disappeared because typically these talented people just don't get the chances still, which is a real shame. But yeah, really great film, really important story to have shown, and just gorgeous to look at.
Well, so far I am 0 for 2 on Michael's selections, having seen them. I haven't seen Roma yet, honestly. So
I haven't either.
I love this movie. When this movie came out, it was, had the limited release in theaters, and I just couldn't get out to see it. Like, I was just too busy, so I watched it on TV, and I was just so taken aback by it that the next day I went to the theater just to see it on the big screen. Oh. Every frame of this movie is a work of art. Like, it's just so beautiful. Like Michael said, it's just so deep and so rich, that black and white. That scene on the beach just made me weep. Just from the visual, what I was seeing just had such an emotional impact on me. It's a great story, but visually it's just breathtaking.
Visually, yeah, it's very stunning. I think I need to give it a rewatch because I may have watched it when I was a bit in the mood. Because, especially for the story, I always got where it's just like, what is this pretentious wank? Just a way to tell the story and everything like that. I was just like, I hate this. It's really beautiful, but I fucking hate this story. I hate everything about it. I hate how the actors doing this stuff. And might have just been where I came in and just like, into that movie, so I might have to rewatch it through gritted teeth and just like, maybe this actually might be good this time. Maybe.
That's a take.
It's just something about it that just rubbed me the wrong way of just like, yeah, just isn't my cup of tea, or just.
No, I don't think it's pretentious. I think it's naturalistic, maybe, which I guess isn't everyone's cup of tea. It's not always my cup of tea, but I can see why it's not. Not everyone's going to engage with it. It's just one of those things.
Well, we shall see if I have seen your third round pick, but we'll wait to get back to you for that one. We move over to Tony for his second pick. Tony, what you thinking?
All right, so there's a ton of options we can do. I'm going to pick one that I don't think anyone would have watched, but it's one that I would have done for my fifth round, but fuck, I'm doing it now because I just want to talk about it. So this is probably the movie that made me go from liking films to loving cinema, and just like really get involved in it. It came out in 2007. It's a biopic called Control. It's about, I remember it's like, I like Joy Division. I like the band. It's like, it came out, it was like, the guy that did the YouTube video for Pride made a movie about Ian Curtis. Like, okay, it's like a Mark Kermode film review that I used to listen to just because, he did funny rants about Sex and the City too, and everything like that. He really had this passionate thing about how great this movie is. So I watched it, and it was like, I went from like, is it black and why is this in black and white? It's from 2000s to going just like, holy crap, this is incredible. Just like, it's the way the music was in there. It's really beautifully well done. Like, Sam Riley is an actor that is just like, I don't know why the fuck that guy has only ever really done Maleficent as his biggest claim to fame. He's an incredible actor that should have done a lot more so far. And it's just like, everything about that movie just works so perfectly. And it's just like the film that made me go from like, oh yeah, I like film. I like blockbusters to going, I like movies. I love this instead.
Can't say I've seen this one. Panel, anyone?
I have it on my watch list, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah, I have not seen it either.
Oh, you got Kathy's vote, and she's a fan of Joy Division.
One of the best
go for you. But yeah, no, can't say I've seen it either. So yeah.
I think it's available. I know for the UK, it's definitely available on Amazon Prime. I believe it's the same for the US. I'll double check that. But
Okay, cool.
it's absolutely cracking watch if you can get a hold of it.
Alright.
Just ignore that the guy that did this made the most that did the George Clooney film The American. Just ignore that fact. This film's actually good.
All right, Tony takes control off the board, apparently. Then we move over to Melissa to close out round number 2. What you think, girl?
So I'm thinking I'm going to go with a very strange movie, of course. This movie is essentially a nightmare on screen, your anxieties on screen, which I'm going to go with Eraserhead.
Okay.
This movie is an experience. I mean, it's one of those movies where you can watch it several times and probably get different interpretations or kind of a takeaway each time you watch it, which I love those type of movies. And it's kind of relevant to my life a little bit right now because it's kind of his anxiety of having children, and I'm kind of dealing with that right now. But yeah, but I'm gonna go with Eraserhead.
Well, if Video Drew voted on the poll, you probably have her vote after that one. Eraserhead. Tony, did you have this one?
I did. I've been.
Oh, really? I did not think you would.
Trying to get into more David Lynch, and it's like this one is very. It's insane. It's. I'm just like. It was one of those ones where it's just like. I went from like watching it to relax and just like to just like sitting up and just like, what the fuck is this? And why can't I look away? And why am I imagining myself with that hair now?
Star Drew, wrong David in the chat. Wrong David. That other David. Different David. David Lynch. But yeah, Kirk, are you a fan of Eraserhead?
I have not seen this. I haven't seen. I mean, I'm hit or miss on Lynch. I haven't seen a ton of his stuff. This is what I haven't seen. It's on my list. I want to watch it. It just I know I have to be in the mood for it. I just haven't really found myself there at a time where I could watch it. I'll get there. I'm definitely curious, at least more than anything.
Yeah, as someone who's not a huge David Lynch fan myself, having done a deep dive a couple weeks ago on it, yeah, don't watch more than 2 in a day. It kind of messes with your psyche.
Also, the sound editing or design on this movie is amazing, and I would love to see it in the theaters.
Oh, that would be an interesting thought. Michael, have you seen it?
No, I've got to watch this, so I'm another one that's a bit behind on Lynch. Because I've
totally fair.
In my head, I in theory think I will love David Lynch, but I've also a bit like Kirk. I'm a bit hot and cold so far, so I'm kind of in a precarious position there. I don't want to like have this idea in my head that David Lynch is probably great ruined by then not enjoying his films. I probably will.
Right. Yeah, no, it takes a certain personality to really dig him. I just don't happen to be one of those personalities. I mean, I like the Straight Story. That was a good one. But other than that, I've just been kind of mad on everything. But this is not a critique on David Lynch. This is a draft of black and white films, and we've reached the end of round number 2. Tony, what? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say about David Lynch, just go find him on YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
Can you expand on that? No.
Just go. All right.
It's weird. It's interesting. It's very Lynchian.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. All right, that's the end of round 2. Tony, recap for those who joined us late, and we are speeding through this draft, and I'm not upset about it at all.
All right, Kirk went first this round. He went 12 Angry Men. Michael went second with a film. Sadly, it's not about the football team managed by Jose Mourinho. I went next with Control, and then Melissa went with Eraserhead.
We've entered round number 3. Melissa kicks us off. What you got up your sleeve?
I think I'm gonna go with The Lighthouse. I think that movie is gorgeous. Every shot of it could easily be a painting in my house, and I'd be okay with it. Also wanted to throw some A24 love on this. William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson were amazing in their performances. Again, I like the Descend into Madness type of movies.
Yeah, another one coming off the board that I have yet to view. So again, I leave it to the rest of the panel to discuss.
I love this movie. It was on my list. If it would have dropped down a little bit, I probably would have picked it up at some point. Talk about just a movie that deserves to be black and white. Just the way this uses color, like the lack of color and the starkness and the blacks and the lights with the darks and the contrast. It's such a great looking movie. I'm so glad I saw this on the big screen. I said when I saw it, this is like the only movie I've ever seen where the aspect ratio is a character, and just like that claustrophobic square with it, that condensed screen just adds so much to it. Yeah, so it's the two leads of this are great. Just the two of them going at it, and it's crazy. But yeah, it's a great black and white movie.
Yes. I'm also a child and I love fart jokes. So.
All right, I'm definitely watching it now. I still haven't gotten over the embarrassment of sitting down to watch The Lighthouse, and then 10 minutes of it being a coloured movie, then going, wait a second, this is a black and white. When does it turn into black and white? Then realizing I'm watching a film 3 years prior. I was just completely like, no Robert Pattinson, no Willem Dafoe. It was completely other actors and stuff like that. I was just like, I'm an idiot.
It took you 10 minutes?
It took me 10 minutes.
Tony's special.
I am. It was a 2016 British psychological thriller starring the actors Michael Lewis Jones and Michael Gibson. Because when you think of Robert Pattinson, you think Michael Gibson.
All right. Okay. If anybody else has anything to add on The Lighthouse, going once, going twice.
Oh, it's good. Sorry, I didn't say anything.
Hey, I'll take it. It's good. That's a contribution. That works. All right, Tony, are you gonna take another documentary? What are you doing with the third pick?
All right, I'm going to go for a comedy that I'm in between 3 here. But I'm just trying to think of, do I go for? There are all the obvious ones that you can think of, but all right, I'm going to go for this one just because it's just everything that. Not only is it really funny, it also just it's also really tense as well in its comedy, and just like the farce of it as well just makes it so just interesting to rewatch after watching the first time, seeing the jokes. Like, this is a war room, seeing the guy in a wheelchair for the first time. That's like Doctor Strangelove is just a really fascinating film.
Full title. Sorry, okay.
Strangelove, how I learn to stop worrying and love the bomb.
There you go.
I'm not.
Yeah, type it all out on the thing too. No.
And it's just like, you just look at Peter Sellers and just go, man, if only you didn't drink, what would you have done more?
He plays 3 roles in that one.
He does,
if I recall correctly. Yeah, retention.
He was going to play 4, but he decided, 3 is good. 3 is too many.
That's a sweet spot, 2 is too few, 4 is too much, 3 is like, perfect. But yeah, Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. Was that on anybody else's draft board?
Yeah, that was my next pick.
Oh no!
That's the worst.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's great. It's just, the way it uses comedy to just tell such a horrific nightmare story, which at the time was not completely outside the realm of possibility. And it's just such a, I think about like this, how this lost the Oscar to My Fair Lady. It's like, you watch My Fair Lady, that feels like something from the 50s. And I always have to remind myself when I watch this that came out in 64, because I mean, this feels like a movie from the late 70s. It's so far ahead of its time in so many ways. Yeah, it's great. Like I said, I was going to pick it if it was still on the board.
It's always unfortunate when that happens. Michael, I saw you nodding your head. This was on your board?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm having the same issue as Kirk, where I'm quite happy if other people choose things at the moment. It's great. And Peter Sellers, I think, is genius in this, but don't count out what George C. Scott does as a comedic actor in this film as well. Brilliant performance. It's the only thing that I find weird about it is how not cheap, but like basic it looks compared to other Kubricks. It's weird to think that he did 2001 like 3 years later, and the difference in that it's irrelevant anyway. It's a great film. It's really, really funny. And what I think, when I think of other like prestige directors, like particularly recent ones like Spielberg, well not recent Spielberg, but Spielberg, Scorsese, Nolan, all these, none of them have made a straight comedy like this. That's for me what really separates Kubrick out from everyone, I think.
Rob Reiner switches it up all the time, but I don't know if I'd put him on the upper echelon like that. I would in my mind, but I don't know if everybody else would.
It's a shout.
Yeah, I just thought one of you three would probably choose it, and I would be fine with that. This was actually one of my blind spots with Kubrick, and I just watched it earlier this year for the first time, and it's really good. I don't know why, but like going into it, it's not what I expected. But like I was surprised in a good way.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that was a big thing for me as well. It was just like I expect, like it was a Kubrick film. I was expecting it to be like grandiose, so, like you see like the nuclear bomb go off, like you see like all this stuff, and it's like really what you got instead. As Michael said, it's like it was almost like minimalist in what it was.
Even like the opening credits, are just like they just look so like childlike almost, like they're all like scribbled on the screen. It's a very silly movie. You don't expect from him.
That's true. That's fair. Well, I didn't expect Barry Lyndon in it, but that's again. I keep going off on director tangents. I need to stop that. All right. So Dr. Strangelove is off the board. Michael, we move over to you. What is your third overall pick?
I don't think anyone's picked Schindler's List yet. I know that has one very famous moment of color, but
there's a little bit of color in that one. Are we gonna allow that one, Tony? Should we let that slide?
Yeah, go on then.
There's actually also colored Raging Bull too, so we can disqualify Michael's whole list.
Okay, see, I haven't seen Raging Bull, so I didn't know that. I have actually seen Schindler's List, so thank you for picking a movie that I've actually seen. Continue.
You're very welcome. Yeah, I mean, it's another one I don't think I can add anything particularly new to what everyone's already said. Strange enough, I think it's the use of that small use of color, which is one of the big reasons I love them. Just really small moments like that, which is so impactful. Another film that's 3 hours, but totally worth the runtime. Another very important story to tell. Yeah, it's just one of those. That's a fair comment from Scott. I think I hear that quite a lot from all sorts of people. It's like no one would watch it again, but everyone thinks it's like an all-timer. Yeah. I would probably watch it again, to be fair. I think it's amazing, but I understand why it's not, again, everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal at times, that's for sure. I mean, yeah, and the word you use, impactful, for the use of the red for the little girl. It's the perfect word to use, because, impactful.
And the score is just amazing. It's honestly probably one of my favorite scores of all time. It's just so iconic. When you hear it, you just want to cry.
Yeah. Just don't make out while you're watching the movie.
Yeah, no.
For all you Seinfeld fans out
there. This is. I actually came to this pretty late because I knew it would be really hard for me to handle this movie. So it took me like years to finally get to it. And yeah, it's devastating. I made it the whole way through until that end scene, that final breakdown. I could have got one more. That just broke me in half. That killed me. But yeah, it's just such a great movie. And I think that's what it is. It's just so. It's so important to watch. It's so well made, but it's so. I mean, I've watched it one time and I've never gone back to it just because it's just so. I mean, just because there's so many, in movie terms, so many fantastic things there. But what you're actually watching is so devastating. It is hard to put through. Real quick, I just want to refute Garth. 1941 is not a comedy, and I still don't believe Spielberg directed that. So.
But yeah, Schindler's List is not one of those ones where you're like, I watched it on Monday. Let me watch it again on Thursday. Like it's not one of those like you have to like let it sit and just let it be. But yeah,
it's like the biggest film on my list, but I haven't seen. And it's just because it's just that thing of just like when will he ever sit down? You know what? I'm going to spend an eighth of my day today watching Schindler's List, and it's the rest of that day just being sad.
Yeah, It is a mood killer, I will say.
I just still find it insane that it's just like so it always gets brought up, but Schindler's List, Jurassic Park came out the same year. It's like John Williams, Steven Spielberg working together. It's just like, how does your brain go from working on those two things just straight back to back and just being able to just do them so soon after each other?
Well, they probably needed the little, like, okay, I need to take a break from this topic. Let's look at dinosaurs for a second.
I just like the idea now of just like Steven just on the set of Schindler's List, just with like a Velociraptor doll, just like I just need 5 minutes, okay? I just need to think about this.
All right, so Michael finally takes a movie I've seen, and Schindler's List is off the board. Kirk, you close out round 3 for us with an excellent selection. What you got?
Okay, my next pick is going to be another one. This other movie really suffers from just a lot of hype of being considered one of the greatest movies ever made. This is another one that took me a few watches to really get into it. But every time I watch this, I love this movie more. Garth's really going to be really happy because I'm picking Casablanca.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, this is just such a great movie. I love the world building that this story does. The first 10 minutes, I always say the first 10 of this movie are the greatest first 10 minutes of a movie ever, just as far as how it shows you exactly what you're getting into, exactly what this world is, exactly what the characters are going to experience, what you're going to experience with them. It's just such a great story from there. There's so many great moments. Peter Lorre's great in it. The La Marseillaise scene with the dueling national anthems is just so powerful. And yeah, just a really good love story. And everybody's great in it. And like I said, every time I watch it, it's just a movie I love more and more.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I watched Casablanca. I mean, I remember liking it, but then, I mean, it comes up time and time again, and everyone's goes apeshit for it. I'm just like, I liked it. I didn't love it. So maybe I need to go revisit.
I'm kind of with Peggy too. I've only seen it the one time. Yeah. I really liked it, but I didn't like love it. But I am a hopeless romantic, so
right?
I like it.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna immediately fall in love with this movie, and it was gonna like be in like my top 10. And I'm just like, I mean, it's good. I don't get why everyone goes.
I would definitely recommend a rewatch because, like I said, the first time I watched it, that's how I felt. I'm like, yeah, it's all right. It's not as good, but like 2-3 times, like, oh, it really started to click for me.
Oh, good. I shall do that then.
I'm in a similar boat. I've not seen it for ages and only the once, but I'm a bit more positive, I think, than the other. I definitely thought it was an excellent film. Just haven't got back to it just yet because love movies.
Right. No, that's fair.
Yeah, it's one of those films where you watch it once because you feel like you have to. It's like when being a cinephile, then it's like, and you need. I feel that like it's one of those ones where you have to go back to it every 5 years. Just like after watching so many other things, I've just stolen stuff from it. You can go back and just go, oh, this actually, oh yeah, this bit, this here, this like, oh, it all makes more sense now.
That makes sense. All right. I have no idea how this poll is going to turn out because y'all got some strong squads. Tony, give us a recap of how it's turning out so far.
Absolutely. All right. So Melissa went first this round, and she went with The Lighthouse. I went with Dr. Strangelove. Blah 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 blah. Michael went with Schindler's List, and Kirk went with Casablanca.
All right, into round number 4. Kirk, back to you.
Okay, my number 4 is one that is going to surprise everybody for me. This could have very easily been a number 1. One of my all-time favorites. It's a Wonderful Life.
Hey, I love it.
Yeah, this is again. You talk about those director actor pairings. Jimmy Stewart and Frank Capra are always so great together. This is my favorite of theirs. Is my favorite Jimmy Stewart movie. He's just so good. George Bailey is just such a fantastic character, and the way the story is told, just where you get to know him and where you get to like really experience the world around him and you feel what he feels. And it's one of the all-time great like setup payoff movies. Just how everything that builds and everything he does and the way it all, when he's gone, you see the fingerprints he had through all these people's lives. It's just so well done. And this is a movie I watch this every Christmas. Every Christmas I'm like, I'm not going to cry this time. Every dang year,
Yep.
My brother George Bailey, the richest man in town, I just lose it. But it's such great. And again, it's one of those things where like it shouldn't work. It should be schmaltzy and too overly sentimental. But it just works. It's just a great movie.
Yeah, because this movie's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, because it plays on NBC or whatever every Christmas, and I just watch it on my own independently every Christmas. It blows my mind that it was a bomb at the box office and then it went into public domain, and that's how it became so popular. Like, how did that happen? It just baffles me because it's such a great film. Such a great film.
Yeah,
I love it.
like
Go ahead.
someone else first.
Melissa, take it away.
I love this movie. It's a one I watch every year for Christmas as well. And I feel like it's talked about a lot on this channel, so I wasn't going to actually have it on my list. But I'm glad that it is still being talked about because it is just such a great, iconic Christmas movie.
For sure.
Yeah, it's pretty essential viewing. It's actually strange. I'm much younger than lots of people I work with, and yet I'm the one that watches It's a Wonderful Life every Christmas while they're watching like Love Actually and whatever nonsense they watch.
Don't get Tony started on that.
Richard Curtis is a god. It's a wonderful life. It's just Christmas. But I came to it late. It never really played much over here on like TV, so I never really caught it until the last couple of years. And just like watching it, it's like finally just like, oh yeah, this is Christmas, 100%. Like I understand it now, even though the story, it could be set anytime really, but it just captures the spirit so well, and just everything about it is so perfect. I will say, in regards to why it got into public domain, if you have the chance to read Frank Capra's autobiography, The Name Above the Line, it's one of the best books I've ever read about the film industry. And the guy just holds most of the stories are probably bullshit, and him just making himself sound amazing, but he makes himself sound amazing. But he talks about how a film that I'm going to pick for my next pick accidentally killed It's Wonderful Life's chances, and the reason why Liberty Films, his company, as well as a few other directors at that time, didn't go off, because this other film did it pretty well.
Interesting. Unless Michael, who has the next pick, snags it from you, we shall see what he's got up his sleeve. Michael, what you going for?
I don't think so, because I think I'm going to just end up committing to picking nothing before the 80s today. I'm going to pick Ed Wood by Tim Burton, which I think is a really, really, I think, surprisingly heartfelt film in the sense that it could easily have been another sort of farcical comedy about this idiot that tried to make films and wasn't very good. But one of the earlier examples, I know there have been some others in the last couple of years as well, like Disaster Artist and Dolomites. And this is one of the first where it actually takes someone and just says, you know what, this guy just wanted to make films and really believed in what he was doing, and we're going to give him sort of the respect that he never got when he was actually in the industry and doing what he was doing. And I think that's such a great approach. I pretty much love all of those films, and this is a brilliant example. I think it's Johnny Depp's best performance by a universe, basically. It's so much better than anything else I've seen him in. Probably my favorite Burton, to be honest, even though it's not what you might think of as a Tim Burton film. It's just so spot on.
I say that's high praise, because Johnny Depp, in my mind, has done a lot of good work. So interesting.
I think so. I think this is like a lot of the times he's either very good or he's very unique. This is, I think, the only time I would call him great.
Interesting. Anyone else on the panel think that Johnny Depp was great and have this one on their draft board?
I had it more on honorable mentions. I just saw it for the first time this year, actually, and I was like, how have I never seen this? Because I really did love it. I thought Martin Landau was the standout in this one for me, but it was great.
Yeah. Okay.
I was going to say, I was shocked how much I liked it, because I went in going, oh, it's a Tim Burton film with Johnny Depp. No, that's never happened before. And I've never really... Tim Burton's just one of those directors that most of his films just don't work for me. I'm just not into the whole gothic phase. I never really went through that. So just like, he's never been my director. This one, I was just like, oh yeah, like a lot of it just really just the heart of it rang true, and just like really worked well, and just like the way that they dealt with Ed's transgenderism and the transvestite, and it's just like it could have been done. So the second they brought it up, I was like, holy shit, this is going to be terrible. They're going to make him into a freak here, but they actually did it really interesting, really well. Like, I was really shocked how Tim really handled that, and Johnny Depp did a really fantastic performance with it.
Yeah, I think it's just like the perfect Tim Burton vehicle because it's like a celebration of outsiders and people just on the fringe, and just also like a celebration of almost just failure. Just like how much it's worth just trying. Putting the effort, and even if you don't achieve it, it's just that effort and that and doing it has so much value in and of itself. And I love that about the story. I love Landau's in it. Bill Murray is really good. I love Bill Murray in this. He just creates a really good character. But yeah, the relationship between Ed and Bella is really sweet. And just the way it looks, it's shot pretty naturally, but it has those moments where it looks very much like one of those 50 movies, and it's just like also an homage to that whole world, that whole genre. A lot of really cool stuff going on in this movie. It was on my long list. I probably wouldn't have picked it, but I thought it would probably go somewhere in the later rounds.
Mm-hmm. The only issue I have with Ed Wood is that they got Maurice LaMarche to voice. Spoiler alert: they had a fantasy scene with Orson Welles, and they got Vincent D'Onofrio to do it. He looks like Orson Welles, and they had the brain doing the brain voice to be Orson Welles, and just like I was there, just like. Just please pick anyone else, just not the brain. I just couldn't get the brain out of my head whenever I watched it.
Garth makes a good point.
Hold it. I just dislike Bill Murray as an actor. When he's doing stuff like that and it's fine in it.
Okay, so we've found something that Tony can tolerate Bill Murray in. Yay!
I basically don't like Bill Murray the comedian. When he's doing the more serious roles, or when he's doing those roles where it's just like it's Bill Murray, but not how you expect him. That's when I like him.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Chris, I wish I could answer this one for you. I still haven't yet to see Big Fish.
Oh, I love
another blank spot. Yeah,
I've
heard nothing but good things. I just haven't seen it. All right, so Ed Wood gone. Tony, your aforementioned pick. From the same year as, what was it, Casablanca or Wonderful Life?
It's A Wonderful Life.
Okay. Take it away. What you got?
All right. So this film baffles me because it shouldn't have been so well done so soon after. Because it makes no sense how William Wyler was able to just create this masterpiece when literally the war just finished in the best years of our life. Like, it just, the whole idea of that, telling the story of like people coming back and their experience in the war, PTSD, when it wasn't even really, even medical journals didn't really talk about it as an idea at that time. It's just like, but he was able to capture it. It's just like, it works so, it's such a really fantastic story. Like, just everything. Harold Russell does a fantastic performance in it. And it's just one of those ones where he ended up winning 2 Oscars because he was so good in it. And it's just, it's one of those films where you just watch and just go, just like, did William Wyler have a time machine and just went forward 20 years, like read all the history about everything and then came back to make it just exactly as people were coming back into the country?
Well, I haven't seen this one, sadly to say. So I'm not doing very well on being able to comment on the draft picks today. It's probably a good reason that Tony's drafting along.
I haven't seen this either.
No, I must admit it's a blind spot. Sorry.
I've seen it. It's good. I don't think it's great. First of all, it's a little over long, and it does get like schmaltzy and sentimental, and it does have. I mean, there's some good stuff in it, but it does fall back and like kind of like that, like those tropes of like the pre-war movies, and even though they're not glorifying it, they're showing more of the reality a lot of those movies are. They're still kind of like that, just that feel to it overall. Mm-hmm. Definitely think It's a Wonderful Life's a better movie, but it's I mean, it's not a terrible pick. It's not a bad movie. It's got a lot going for it.
I think as well. The shot of them in the plane as they're coming back into this town. If you just go on YouTube and watch that, it's just like. I don't think it's been a better like coming home shot than that in just cinema. And it just works so well, and it's just like, and I could talk about this film for ages. I had to watch. I watched this because it was on the Full Metal Deep Cuts list, and it was literally me and Jacoby versus I can't remember the team, but we were arguing over who has to watch this one because it's long, it's in the 40s. Like we had shorter films on the list, so it's just like fuck it, I'll take it. It's on Prime over here. I'll suffer for an afternoon and watch it. I was just like, no, I'm okay. I'm very happy with that trade.
Yeah, worth that. Oh, cool. Best years of our life off the board. Back to Melissa to close out round number 4.
So I don't think we've mentioned anything from Alfred Hitchcock. And I'm going to go with, it was the Best Picture winner in 1940, Rebecca. I think this movie is gorgeous, the way it looks in black and white. It's a psychological drama. And I would say Mrs. Danvers is probably one of the best villains in movie history. And I really, really love the queer subtext in this movie. It's great. And the ending is amazing.
Hitchcock doing a psychological drama. I can't picture it. I just can't. It just doesn't play. But yeah, again, another one I have not seen. I'm not doing well today, guys. This is not good. I need to do more of a deep dive on black and white films or just classic films in general. So again, I leave it to you guys.
I like this one a lot actually. I've not seen a lot of Hitchcock, but I think everything that I have seen has been pretty great, and this is definitely one of them. I remember thinking this was just another very engrossing watch, a very engaging watch. Fascinating story, and yeah, really good pick.
This is a Hitchcock I haven't seen yet. I'm trying to get through them slowly but surely. This is one I haven't got to. There were a couple other black and white Hitchcocks that could have made my list, but this wasn't on it. This wasn't one of them, just because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's cool. Tony, you seen this one?
I haven't. However, I have seen the 2020 remake, which did make me nervous to ever touch this one. just because of going, all right. Because I was just having to remember that the 2021 exists. It was bad. I only watched it because it was like I love Lily James. I think she's a fantastic actress, and Sam Riley is also in it. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be great, and it's a Hitchcock remake, and it should be good. Kristen Scott Thomas is in it. She's fantastic in a lot of things.
Nope.
No.
I have not seen the remake. I don't want to.
Yeah. Oh well, according to Patrick, do not do it.
I trust.
I was curious because Ben Wheatley directed it, and he's usually quite an out there director. But when I watched the trailer, I just knew immediately it was not a Ben Wheatley film. So, not bothered.
Yeah, it was. That was the thing as well. Like, I've watched a few of Ben Wheatley, and it's just like, so I was expecting it to be like, okay, so this guy just like doing a Hitchcock film. This is gonna be interesting because the field in England is weird, and that is great, and it's like it's probably the most Lynchian film to not be directed by Lynch.
Okay.
And it's just that
explains why Melissa likes it.
It actually could have been. It's actually a black and white film, so people should watch it. But yeah, it's it's just like, and then it was just like, yeah, you didn't get to touch this script, did you, mate? You're now doing this for the paycheck. You're doing Nake 2 now. Great.
All right, so we've come to the end of round number 4. Again, still have no idea how this vote is going to go because, some banger lists we got going. Tony, you're up.
Absolutely. All right, so Kirk went first this round. He went with It's Wonderful Life. Michael in the middle there, he went with Edward. I went The Best Years of Our Life. And Melissa ended it with Rebecca for this round as we go to the 5th and final round.
Yes, so this is where you solidify your squads, panel. Pick the one that's closest to your heart. Pick the one you think is going to win you the poll. Pick the one you think that you want to talk about the most. Whatever your heart's desire, make that selection now. Melissa, you are up.
It's tough because I have a lot listed on this page that I have here.
We'll let you do the honorable mentions, but
I think I'm just gonna go with a movie that I think more people should see. I'm gonna choose A Girl Walks Alone at Night. It's set in Iran and it's in in Farsi, and it's set in this kind of ghost town. It's called Bad City, and it's basically a feminist vampire movie. So it's very much up my alley. It's a very like moody film. There's not a lot of plot, and it's a very yeah. I had a thought, but I lost it. So.
Not a problem. But we got an audible good pick from Kirk while you named that movie. So Kirk, you've definitely seen this one.
Yeah, this is a nice little under the radar pick. It's a great looking movie. First of all, it's one of those ones where the black and white just really helps with it. And like Melissa said, the it has like this otherworldly feel where it takes place in it's the real world, but not really, kind of like cocked on its edge a little bit. And just like the city or town or neighborhood, whatever, it's just kind of, you really don't see the edges to it. Like you really can't tell like exactly where it's supposed to be or when. And the main character, just like the reveal of what she is and who she is and what she does, is really cool. It's a really fun vampire movie. I really enjoy it. So I like this pick. I didn't expect to see come up, but I'm glad it did.
Yay.
Tony, Michael, have either of you possibly caught this one?
Not yet. I really, really want to, but I've not caught it yet. I will merely agree with Scott that The Bad Batch is bonkers and great. But I've not seen this one yet, unfortunately.
I've heard nothing but great things about this, but A, it's a horror film, and B, it's a vampire horror film. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm good.
Not really high on your priority list to get to.
No, I'm good. But it's just to say, it's available in the States on Hoopla, Canopy, DirecTV, Shudder, Arrow, ton of options, and Shudder over here as well for the UK for people to give it a go.
Well, Meltzer gives it the stamp of approval. That's good. All right, Melissa's squad is set. Tony, time to finalize yours. What are you going with?
All right. Stuck between two lemons. We'll go 59 or 60. Peggy, pick a number, 59 or 60.
Let's say we'll go 59.
Something like it hot.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, my God. Okay, fine. You know my opinion on this one, so I'll refrain. Continue.
I know. I love that you picked it. But yes, it's one of those films where just like I've rewatched it now quite a few times since first watching it, and just like it gets better with every viewing, and it's just like Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon are just perfect in these roles, and just like, and I now realize like, oh yeah, Marilyn Monroe is more than just like the poster girl. She's more than that. She was actually a really good actress, and it's just like the script is incredible. Like they might like I used to say that I was like, oh yeah, they could probably get rid of a bit of the gangster stuff that gets a bit boring afterwards. But after rewatching it recently, it was just like, oh the gangster stuff is so good. Like especially that beginning as well. Like it just like it completely like makes the film better because it gives you like this like, hey, we're gonna go down this path for a while, and then oh yeah, here's like we're going straight into that sugar cane. We're going straight to this. It just makes it even better somehow, and it's just like it's so good. And
I think I'm more with Peggy on this by her face.
Overrated.
Yeah, I had fun watching it, but I just feel like a lot of it doesn't hold up very well, and it makes me feel like it doesn't represent women very great. So
I get
it. But Kurt, Michael, anyone?
I like this movie. It's not my favorite Lemon. It's not my favorite Wilder, but it's definitely up there. Jake needs to watch The Odd Couple, but it's. But I think the thing about Wilder in general, even with Sunset Boulevard, with so many of his movies, he has such modern sensibilities. You watch his movies, you're like, how was this made in the 50s or 60s? And it's just the way this handles like and again I understand what Melissa's saying, but I feel like still for that time it was really ahead of its time. And there's it's just so much fun. Like Lemon and Curtis play basically like three different characters. Just the gangster stuff is fun. Just their play off each other is really enjoyable. It's a fun movie. I like it, and I'm glad Tony took it because if I didn't want to take this because there's something else I would take, but if it came to me, I felt obligated. So thank you for picking this one.
I've not seen it. I'm striking out on Tony's list a lot, I'm afraid.
It's like me on your list, Michael.
Yes.
Just never read up about Tony Curtis and Marilyn Monroe. Just never, don't do it. It'll just ruin it. It'll just partly ruin the movie for you.
Oh yeah.
Great.
I believe the line was kissing Monroe was like kissing Hitler.
Wow.
Okay.
This was before it was found out that they were having an affair during the film.
Interesting. All right. Tony's team is full up. Michael, time to round out your squad.
So there is another quite recent film which I want to sort of bat in the corner for, but I don't think I can let this finish without Charlie Chaplin being represented. So I'm going to go against what I've been doing so far and pick an old film. I know there's probably everyone will have their own idea of which of his classics is the best. I'm going to go for The Great Dictator.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I can say the same things about it as I'm sure you can with all of his most sort of prestige films. It's obviously the physical humor, the way he stages his humor is obviously genius, but also then how he pivots it into moments of actual genuine insightfulness and almost beauty at times. This film has obviously his speech at the end, which is always worth listening to if you get a chance. Just Avcon is just a really brilliant bit of screenwriting. There's a shot right at the end, which I think right at the end, I won't spoil it, but I think is as beautiful as anything that I've discussed today. And yeah, that's what the guy was capable of, just a comedic genius, but also then managed to find such depth to his films. I think the guy was a genius.
Well, Michael, I'm 40% on your. I've seen 2 out of 5.
Brilliant.
And Ed Wood. I got some work to do before next season. Anybody, would this have been the Chaplin movie you would have selected, or have you seen this one and want to comment on it?
I've actually not seen it. I've seen the speech though, weirdly enough, but I haven't seen the movie. So I'll have to check it out.
I would say probably the Modern Times. There wasn't one on my list that I had for Chaplin, but this one, I'm waiting for the biopic about it to come out. Just like I think there's a really honest story behind the scenes of just like him trying to get this movie made, and just like dealing with just like we don't want to hang over Germans because we like their money still.
I don't know if this would have been my Chaplin pick. I mean, definitely would have been up there. It would have been one of the choices. But I'm just glad, like Michael said, that he personally and also that entire era got represented on the list somewhere. But yeah, I mean, I think it just really shows what he was so good at. He did like the slapstick, the comedian stuff, but he wasn't just a clown. He had like something to say, and he had like there's meaning behind what he did. And this kind of encapsulates all that. So that's a really solid pick.
Yeah, cool. All right, Michael's team is complete. Kirk, leaves that to you to close out both your team and the draft.
All right. Okay. I'm really happy with my picks so far. I got 4 of my top 5, and I went for all like the staples, the standards, the classics so far. Want to go something a little more personal to me. It's still a classic, but this is I want to get a horror movie on the list, and I don't talk about a lot. You guys know I'm from Pittsburgh. Have I ever brought that up? Wouldn't be, I wouldn't be able to, show my face if I didn't pick a George Romero movie. So of course we'll go with Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
This is, I still think, one of the all-time great, if not the greatest zombie movies. What Romero does here is he basically creates a genre. I mean, zombies had existed in different ideas before, but like what we know today as a zombie, like you think like werewolves and Frankenstein, Dracula, those are 100 years old. 50 years ago, he created this whole mythos that we're still, that we still, watch and adhere to, and all the rules of zombie. That's where this all came from, and it just such a great. It's just such a great. Like, again, another singular location where just people hold in, trying to survive, just like that original like survival horror type of thing. Mm-hmm. It just starts. And I know a lot of people badmouth. It's basically because it's been copied so much that you look back now and it looks like the copy, but this is the original. Just so much fun. And Dwayne Jones as Ben was just like a groundbreaking character to have like a African American actor in that role, and Romero really pushed for that. It was like very shocking to have him in there to play that role, to do what he did. and just such a great performance. A lot of great performances throughout. But yeah, it just like I said, it's my hometown. I've been to Evans City. I've been to the cemetery, still there. All the stuff from the movie is still there. From those scenes, it's really cool. But yeah, I love this movie. Like I said, I think it's still, despite everything else, just still my number one zombie movie.
I'm guessing, Melissa, have you seen this one? Sounds like it'd be up your alley.
Yeah, no, I literally had it on my list, but I was like, Kirk's gonna choose it at some point.
Thank you for leaving for me.
Yes, iconic horror movie. So I mean, it's perfect.
You can leave it at that. Iconic horror movie. It works.
Yeah.
I find it shocking that it's like his directorial debut, and it's like, as you said, it's literally like this basically just redefine what horror was at the time. It's like, 'cause it went from like Universal Monsters, then it had the 50s, and then this came out, and this like, and then we saw like the re-rise of like these type of films, and it's like, it baffles my mind just how Romero would have been able to do that, just straight off the bat, just like, hey, I'm gonna do this idea that no one's really ever thought of. It's so.
And if you ever get a chance, watch his commentary, his director's commentary on the DVD or the Blu-ray, because he just how much spit and polish went into this. Just throwing it together. Just okay, what do we have? What can we do? And the way they just piece this movie together on no budget whatsoever is a really amazing story in and of itself.
Yeah, I'd probably be more down to watch like the making of documentary than I would the movie itself, just because I get so scared so easily. If I'm watching like the making of, it might be a little bit easier to digest for me.
To be fair, from the bits that I've seen, because once again, horror pansy, it's not like terrifying in the sense like it has been the terror has been watered down just because of what came after it's been able to work from this. But it's more. It's like just seeing.
It's more the foreboding than
the
actual what you're seeing.
Okay.
The dread.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Another sensation I don't like invokes within myself. So.
I love it.
Yeah, not my thing. But hey, we've reached the end of the draft. Everyone's got a full squad. Tony, go ahead and recap each team as it broke out. And while he's doing that, those of you guys in the chat, what did we miss? What did you want named that wasn't named? And then we'll go around and get everyone's honorable mentions.
Absolutely. All right, here we are for the list. Let's make it a tiny bit bigger. We chose some big names. All right, let's go first this week. And she went Sunset Boulevard, Eraserhead, The Lighthouse, Rebecca, and A Girl Walks Alone at Night. I went second, and I just realized I could have gone with EF to try and keep it going. So I went Citizen Kane, Control, Doctor Strangelove, The Best Years of Our Life, and Some Like It Hot. Michael went third with Raging Bull, Roma, Schindler's List, Edward, and The Great Dictator. Yeah, Dick. And then Kirk, Seven Samurai, 12 Angry Men, Casablanca, It's a Wonderful Life, and Night of the Living Dead.
All solid squads, but like I said, I mean, this was a vast like pool of movies that we could have chose from. I am assuming that each of you have a long list of movies that you would have loved to have talked about, didn't get an opportunity to put it in your top 5. We'll start with Kirk. Give us a few of your honorable mentions and anything that you want to plug or promote or anything you want to.
It's so hard because there's just with 5 picks, there's so much stuff I wanted to get on here.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, probably a lot of people were surprised that I have a Marx Brothers pick. I would have loved to have got Marx Brothers on here somewhere. Would have been hard to narrow it down to what movie. Same with the Universal Monsters. Any one of those would have been really solid. Also, another little known horror film. Not little known, but in our community, normies don't know it. Freaks is a great movie. The Hitchcock, like Psycho, Lifeboat, Rope is really good. So yeah, a lot of little subgenres of black and white that deserved more love than it got. But we only got 5 picks, so what are you gonna do?
Right? Yeah. 5 is quite limiting, especially with this.
Oh, Francis Ha, that's good, Scott. That's a good pick.
Nice. And then anything you want to plug or promote?
If you enjoy this format, if you enjoy a panel of people talking about movies, about 40 minutes from now over at Multiplex, we're going to be starting a new Your List Sucks Top 100 series. I will be hosting. We got Scar Harvey, we got Jay Cruikshank, we got Adelaide Spence, and we got future IG champion Amaru Moses. So we'll be starting our Top 100 this week. It's going to be on Twitch. So go over to Multiplex Twitch and subscribe, follow. I don't know how Twitch works, but do whatever you're supposed to do.
Top 100 all time? Anything?
It's tonight. It'll be 10. It'll be 10. It'll be 100 through 91 tonight. We'll go through next couple of months. But it'll be fun. It'll be weird. Always causes me a lot of mental anxiety and stress, and that's always fun to watch. So I'll suffer for your entertainment.
Yes. So, guys, after this is over, please go see Kirk over on that show. It's going to be a fun one. And then we shall move over to Michael. Your honorable mentions. Anything you want to plug or promote?
Wanted to mention The Artist because I think that gets a bad rap because it was unfortunate enough to win Best Picture. Kind of wanted to fight for Mank a bit as well because I thought that was better than some of the reviews gave it. Also, a lot of obviously the older films, obviously Psycho. Really wanted to pick Young Frankenstein, but didn't get a chance, unfortunately. All About Eve, On the Waterfront, lots.
Let's go. And then plugs, promotions, anything you want to point?
No, not
towards?
particularly.
Okay.
I'm on here occasionally because I like this show. I will try and do trivia on here again at some point. I will one day stop neglecting Full Metal and do some trivia on there as well. And I guess on a slightly more serious note, I am going to, if this is more of an open invitation for you really, I'm probably going to be at London Film Festival next month in a few weeks' time. So if anyone else is going, let me know. And I don't know, it might be cool to hang out with some people.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Fun. Yeah.
Sounds cool. All right, Melissa, your honorable mentions. What you got?
I wanted to share some love with some silent movies like Girl Shy, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Metropolis, those type of movies. But also some other honorable mentions, Wild Strawberries, and The Seventh Seal, and a bunch of other ones, but just a few to name. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Melissa Woody and support this channel.
Okay, works for me. And then Tony, honorable mentions and everything that's coming up on featured presentation productions.
As the one that, the 60 option was going to be The Apartment.
I should have gone with 60. I like that movie better than I like something
know.
like that, even though I think that's overrated as well.
Wow.
Yeah, and then a few more like Duxit was going to be up there, Third Man. Those two were the big ones. The Elephant Man for David Lynch. Eraserhead got mentioned, so that was the one that I was thinking of. But I personally like that better than Raging Bull. But as like John Hurt is an actor, an incredible man, and that's really it from the ones that weren't already said. Let me just quickly pull up a few from the chat. So whatever happened to Baby Jane? Thinking of Baby, Bringing Up Baby.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Clerks,
You do love that movie.
Pleasantville.
That's too much color in the beginning. I wouldn't have allowed it, but I do enjoy Pleasantville.
Then Francis R. Witness for the Prosecution of Nebraska, The Philadelphia Story. Then Jimbo's, Separately, and Frankenweenie as well, and just
Clerks. That's a good call.
I thought somebody would choose that, to be honest. I'm surprised it wasn't.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
Then, we got.
That's good, Joseph. I understood that reference.
Yeah, sorry, Joseph. Sorry. just a personal take of my own. That's all right. And then the only one I haven't seen that I would have thrown out there is Bridge on the River Kwai. That was a good one.
Is that black and white?
I watched it in black and white.
You just had a broken TV.
No, I mean, it was an illegal feed from Cody, but maybe I just got a bad copy.
Yeah.
I don't know. But what I watched was black and white.
I remember it being in color, but
I watched it. Maybe all right. I watched that shit in black and white. I swear to God.
Well, if you have black and white TV, all movies are black and white. Let's be fair.
No, I watched that on my laptop. Maybe I just got a bum copy of it. I don't know.
It would have been like a black and white edition.
Yeah.
Would
you have allowed like Parasite?
Or Mad Max Fury Road or something.
Mad Max, because they have like black and white editions.
I mean, there's a colorized edition of pretty much probably everything on here, but I don't know if we could do it the opposite way. But I thought Bridge. Anyways, Tony, what's
Still
coming up
great
on the
movie.
channel? Save me, please.
All right, for the channel. So things were meant to be happening. Sadly, I got very busy this weekend throwing up, so a lot of things got thrown on the wayside. So the Mobile Choice Maelstrom is going to be next week, next Sunday. That's going to be in the Rom-Com Rumble. That's going to be in, all the stuff's going to be there. So that's next Sunday, not this Sunday, following Sunday. And then for next, so October 1st, last Sunday of the month. So I think there's a particular holiday on that day or something. We might do something about it. I'm not sure. Halloween, we'll choose my show at the end next month. That's it. And then things should be appearing in the next 2 weeks on the channel. Just like a lot of juggling. FPMT will be back sooner rather than later. Just having to take time off because yay, too much stuff to do on my own. And Digestion Cinema. So this week they did The Wedding Singer for featuring Arquette. Next week they are doing. Oh my God, what are they doing? Film featuring music-centric film. I can't remember.
Selena?
Maybe. I'm not sure. It was a surprise. But yeah, that was. But yeah, Kirk's been on recently. With the Marx Brothers. That was a really fantastic episode for Night at the Opera. And then yeah, they've been absolutely killing it so far. So go listen to them. And yep. Yep, and keep your eyes out. More stuff coming sooner rather than later. Enough with Bill Carrier. I've announced it every fucking week for the past 3 weeks. I've just not had a chance to fucking finish editing it. It will be up soon. Him and Jake Marangoni talking about Miami Connection. It's really fantastic. I just have to get the goddamn intro to start working again, and it'll be up.
Well, luckily we got this episode done in under 90 minutes. Hopefully you can get some sleep tonight, Tony. And then you guys in YouTube land, tune in next week where we have the returning panel for our Rotten Tomatoes draft. We are drafting things that are rated between 75% and 100%. So that'll be an interesting one. And it'll be all the familiar faces you've seen on the Rotten Tomatoes episodes throughout the Fantasy Film Fights tenure, I guess, whatever. Anyways, but hopefully see you next week. So for myself, for Kirk, Michael, Melissa, and Tony, have a good one. Bye, guys.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and please don't forget to vote.
That was awesome.
I thought it raked.
Who's winning?
Let's see who wins.
You're gonna win.
Nothing personal. It's really gonna matter.
Tune in next week.
You see what happens?
It's brand new.
Episode?
Fantasy
Film
fight.
Doesn't matter who wins because they're all losers.